idea for them, according to the textbook Education, Chapter 1, page 49. According to earlychildhoodblogspot.com, Froebel fashioned a personal philosophy of unity that embraced the spiritual potential within a person, that the relations between people in free society, the place of individual in relation to the nature that surrounds and includes him, and the life force that controls growth in all things. Thus were born the three main ideas of Froebel's education philosophy: unity of creation, respect of individual child, and the importance of play in children's education. Unity of creation emphasizes, in Froebel's definition, unity of creation emphasizes that children should be able to enjoy nature. They should be able to see nature through their own eyes and incorporate it through, I guess, work, like, artwork or whatever the case may be. Respect of individual child would bank upon social skills of children. Like, they should be able to understand that, you have to treat your fellow human as you wanted to be treated. And the importance of play in children's education is the development of their gross motor skills and their fine motor skills. Gross motor skills is anything that deals with motion, as far as running, jumping, climbing, building, whatever the case may be when it comes down to movement for children. Fine motor skills consist of them writing, coloring, building with Legos, knitting, stuff like that. And there's different developments for each stage of child. Also, it helps with their social skills. Also, according to Early Childhood blog, Froebel designed physical tools, which he called gifts. These gifts were when used properly, provides infinite number of conceptual links between the gifts and the world. These gifts were used to create structures of pictures into three fundamental categories: form of nature, which is life; form of knowledge, which is science; and a form of beauty, which is art. Life forms are tangible, which are like trees and people. Knowledge forms are mathematical, and form of art is semantical patterns. So the life form for children, they should be able to understand, the concept of a tree, and understand the concept of people being, a life form. They should, before they actually start drawing and writing, they should understand that, that a life form is something that is living. They should understand the biology of it all. The knowledge of forms, which is mathematical, in other words, linking logs and things like that, they should understand the concept behind that as well, as they're playing with it. And the form of art, which is semantical patterns, it's, say for instance, they were looking at the Mona Lisa or something, they should, see the symmetry and, be able to tell us something about how it makes them feel, or, what is it that's inspiring them, why is this piece, what does it mean to them, and things like that. What was used for concrete materials for children to manipulate in specific ways? The first gift was a box of 6 wooden balls in the colors of a spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, plus corresponding strings. Each child could use these materials in many creative ways, but Froebel and his teachers identified more than 100 games to play with this one gift and accompanying songs and rhymes. Another gift was a cube that could be divided into 8 smaller cubes and back together to form a whole. Children could play many games with these gifts, but it is also promoted basic math concepts related to the number of geometry. This is coming from the textbook Education, again, chapter Building on Tradition of Excellency, page 50. Here are some of Froebel's gifts in picture form. Alright. Have the little things that they could use to stack and use their fine motor skills for. Here are the balls of string that she was talking about that they could use to manipulate. Here are the logs that they could use to manipulate to help build their fine motor skills. And these are the little beads that they could use to make patterns or make things the way they see them. Here's a little concept with logs, like the little marble concept of, I think that's gravity, which is science. And then this is the pattern, like flower patterns. This helps kids put things in perspective, how they see it, it's colorful or anything. And these are also logs again. These are just some of Froebel's gifts. And that's the end. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Hey, my name is Deshaira, and I'm a teacher at Kidding Around. I'm Netra's co-worker. My question is, what inspired him to be the father? What inspired him to do what he did?
Froebel's metaphor of children's garden was more than poetry. The children's garden, I know I didn't mention that earlier, but I mean, that's kind of what inspired him. He believed that children had an innate ability to, like, learn. According to the textbook, it said that Froebel's metaphor of children's garden was more than poetry. He strongly believed that children's learning is the process of unfolding from within. He also believed that learning would occur on a child's own timeable and not until the child was ready. Froebel's garden emphasized children free play, singing, and movement. The materials he developed, which were called Froebel's occupations and gifts, were used to guide and structure children's play. As a result, Froebel's view of free play was not as free as some might interpret today. So, in other words, what started him was because he believed that children were innately good, and he felt that I guess they needed a little bit of help, I guess, getting there. And yeah, that's how I would answer that question, because he felt that children were innately good. And also, according to the book, he kind of agreed with James Pigot's theory about children being in different stages. They started to learn different things, and that's what started him wanting to learn more about the, I guess, kindergarten. Anyone else have any more questions?
Hi, my name is Chanel. I'm Netra's co-worker. My question is, how will we incorporate his gifts into our everyday play?
Okay. My suggestion would be, in everyday play, if you want to incorporate Froebel, I would say involve the children in the process. As a teacher, don't look out for, I guess, you yourself. Involve the children, let them view it how they see it. There is no right or wrong answer. Also, I would say allow them to use the different materials. We work at the same center, so the little linking logs and stuff like that allows them to build upon it, see what they're thinking about it, or first let them see something and see if they can imitate it to give them an idea. Also, make sure that when we're doing circle time, that it's more involved with the children, that they can be individuals themselves. They can individualize it themselves. It's not just a strict procedure. That would be my answer to that. All right. Any more questions?
Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm a nanny, and I'm one of Netra's friends. How could I incorporate his things when I don't have all the materials that I need at a house versus a daycare?
Okay, that's a good question. You could incorporate different songs or games that that would help increase the child's social skills and motor skills. For instance, what would be a game that you could play? Okay, here's how I would suggest if you don't have those things. I would say you could look it up. Some of the things that we've seen online. You could use little how most people were nanny for, they probably have little bowls or something. You could have them use those to stack with the parents in mind, or you could use straws. You could use thread instead of the material that he had. You could find little different things that could help them, make up little songs and games to help incorporate the learning and make it fun for them, make it enjoyable for the child. All right, and according to an academic journal written by Kelly Russell and Jerry Aldridge from Alabama University, there are remnants of Froebel's influence in today's school, but the remnants do not really show the commitment of the unity of Fredrick Froebel, who have intended. For example, children in the classroom all over the world gather into circle time every day, but teachers might be surprised to know that Froebel, who's the creator and the originator of circle time, intended this arrangement to help children gain a sense of unity and interconnectedness. So, in other words, what I take from the this journal is that circle time was supposed to be for kids to connect with each other. It's not just a time for, I guess, them just to learn, but like, to learn from each other, but to also learn from us. It's supposed to be like, a unity, not just us seeming like, we're trying to teach or push something on them. Because like he said earlier, like he said earlier, Froebel believed that children would learn when they were ready, not that they should be like, pushed into it. Just because a child may be 3 doesn't mean that they have to know their ABCs. Some kids may, learn it a little bit later, or some may learn it a little bit earlier. Just depends on that child. And it also, in my opinion, depends on, like, the genetic makeup of the parents. It just depends on the environment. Like, environment matters, like, as to what a child is willing to learn or what they know. I also believe that environment matters and society matters. Like, if a child is brought up in an environment that's not so positive, it'll be a little harder for them to focus, simply because they worried about the things that are going on around them. They're not going to be able to focus much, especially like if they're living in poverty. They're probably not eating meals every day, so honestly they won't be able to focus properly. And I think that's the whole thing with Froebel, but that's more of Montessori as well. And that's my speech. Thank you.